First and foremost, as always, I let it give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and peace and blessings unto the elect. All right, so I just want to do this lesson on what's going on in Esau's house, which Esau's house is crumbling. All right, Esau's house is divided. Because I have a few articles pulled up on my Twitter feed, right? It says Europe must reduce its dependence on the United States. Macron says on his flight back from China. In which we already seen, France. You had people in Paris, France, about 2 months ago, protesting on how France should leave NATO, right? Which that's also documented in the prophecies, talking about the EU, the 10 horns or the 10 toes, or the kingdom being divided, which that's what we're going to get. Hey, but you see, you have the president of France just openly saying that, look, we have to stop relying on America. And this is right after he met up with he this is right after he met up with Xi Jinping in China. Which showed you and bringing to life the prophecies in Revelation 17, right? You had people scoffing, right? Like you had this one person saying, "Nice to see NATO is standing together strong." Man, everybody is laughing at this so-called alliance of these different European nations. Man, it is a complete joke. All right, just to reiterate, it says France's President Macron says Europe must reduce its dependency on the United States. And this is right after he flew from China, which showed you that they were in the talks. So hey, look, who knows? Man, France and man, France president, the president of France, he might just come out and say, we're withdrawing from the EU. We're gonna withdraw from the EU and the NATO, and we're gonna get with China, get with Russia. You never know. But ultimately, all these different nations are going to shoot missiles on America, pursuant to the prophecies. Man, we are living in some beautiful times. Like just like what we was going into at the altar. Man, it's things happening by the day. And this actually, slipped from under me. I seen this, just scrolling on my Twitter feed after camp. After camp, I hopped on Twitter. I'm like, all right, bet. Let me just go ahead and see what's going on. Because even when we're at camp, and we're teaching, when we're prophesying, we're going to miss some things. So, we got to drive to camp, set up, do camp, and then, hop back in the car and drive back home. So we're missing about 2 hours worth of news that's being pushed out. So even when we're finished ministering at the altar, man, we still have to come home and watch so that we can be up to date on what's happening around the world. Hey, look at this. Somebody said the writing is on the wall. Bro, like everybody see that. This place is done. This place is finished. So this is Mark 3 and verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. That's right. And this place hath an end. All right, the hegemony of Esau is finished. The kingdom of Esau is finished. All right, the scriptures tells you in Revelation, the 20th chapter, that this devil was only going to come and rule for a little season. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 1, it says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, which is Europe, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Yeah, which this is dealing with the western half of the Roman Empire, right, that fell to Jake, and Esau was in servitude under us for 1,000 years. Because when you look it up, the Byzantine Empire continued on the eastern half of the Roman Empire for 1,000 more years, right? Like King James, Constantine, etc. They were all Israelites. Verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. That's right. And the little season of Esau is up. The little season of Esau is up, which is so ironic, that I'm speaking about the French, because of the little season, started with, Spain, Spain and France. Spain and France, they were like the first European nations to come over here to the so-called New World and, enslave, enslave our people, right? They set up territories in different places in America, right? But we see that the whole infrastructure of Esau is going down. That's all according to prophecy. All right, this is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 21. It says, "And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, which the feet of the statue represents the European Union," right? Because the feet, you have 2 feet. Everybody has 2 feet, and on each foot is 5 toes, which which equates to 10 toes, right? But you had 12 original European members. So how do we fix that? You fix that by going into the history, and you will see how a couple nations were operating as one nation. Like um, for example, Ireland and the UK, they were operating as one, and Spain and Portugal, they were also operating as one. So there goes your 10 right there. Because when you look on a map, right, world map, Europe. Let's go ahead and look at it real quick, just to show how how connected how connected they are. All right, boom. See that? So you see Ireland and the UK, they're literally right next to each other. And you see how Spain and Portugal, they are literally connected to each other. They were operating as one. So there goes your 10 toes right there. There goes your 10 nations right there, or your 12. So it says, "And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron," right? Because you have nations within the EU that are weak, that are weak when it's dealing with their financial standpoint, and also their armies as well. The military, and it's talking about um, economy as well. And it says, "The kingdom shall be divided." See that? The kingdom shall be divided. Oslagi, let me read again from the top. "And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron," right? That's right, because you have some nations that are partly weak and partly strong financially, and also in their armies. "The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay." You see that? The kingdom shall be divided. And we see that there's division, right? There's clear division. And ultimately that's going to result into these different European nations shooting missiles upon America. Revelation 17 and 16. "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast," which the 10 horns is the same as the 10 toes, which is dealing with the EU, the European Union, and the beast represents the NATO. "These shall hate the whore," which the whore is dealing with America, "and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." And how are they going to burn America with fire? Through the nukes. Are they going to click up with these different nations, i.e., Russia and China? So, man, this is beautiful. And this is beautiful that all these things are happening right now, right before our very eyes. We are definitely living in beautiful times, man. This shit is done. Look at this, with friends, quote unquote, like these, who needs enemies? It's time for the U.S. to completely sever ties with Europe. The continent of freeloaders looks at us looks at us only a blank checkbook. The first step should be leaving NATO and the UN to fend for themselves. Hey, look, on the contrary, man, they going to leave them. Hey, so this is beautiful. Just trying to see what the comments. See any more comments? Check it in. Check these comments. And be some edifying things. And we've been saying this. All right, starting with our elders. I mean, we've been already saying these things. All right, these things isn't anything new to us. It's just that the Heavenly Father is now manifesting these prophecies. Right? You have Donald Trump. He has his own app, and he tweeted out World War III. It shows you that even Trump, he knows, and he knows what's going on. He knows what's going on. And so we're at the end of this man's society. We're at the end of this man's rule. It's only a matter of time where people get chipped and Heavenly Father send the nukes. All right, so Yahweh Tazah, if you brothers and sisters were edified, till next time, Shalom.